The story began in a classroom at Jiangqing High, moments before the unified martial arts exam was set to commence. Mr. Chen Fan, the instructor, had sternly instructed his students to prepare their equipment. He warned them that the exam was extremely dangerous and strongly advised against participation for those with weak abilities. At that moment, the protagonist, Xu Jingming, reflected on his circumstances. He had been transmigrated into this world, a place technologically similar to his own, yet overrun by deadly beasts. To combat these threats, certain individuals known as awakened wielded supernatural powers to protect humanity. Every person awakened their abilities at age 16, with powers ranging from the mundane to the bizarre. These abilities were categorized into 9 ranks, with most individuals only attaining powers between F and D rank. Xu Jingming recalled his own ability, a weak electric current, barely stronger than a taser, placing him at a meager E rank. Suddenly, a blonde classmate sneered at him, asking if he truly intended to take the martial exam despite the teacher's warning. The boy called him trash and mocked that he would only embarrass the school, suggesting he stick to a desk job instead. Before Xu Jingming could respond, lynchingly, a fiery classmate stood up in his defense. She snapped at the bully, telling him to mind his own business. Unfazed, the blonde boy smirked, declaring he would prove his superiority during the test. As he stormed off, he threw a final threat at Xu Jingming, warning him that the exam grounds would be his tragic end. Lynchingly turned to Xu Jingming, her expression softening. She urged him to reconsider, suggesting he take the safer path, the liberal arts track, instead of risking his life in the martial exam. The application form presented 2 choices, liberal arts or martial arts. Those who chose the martial path would be sent into danger zones to fight beasts, and only by passing could they enter an awakened university and become official ability users. Xu Jingming sighed, recalling the beast tide that had claimed his parents' lives. The memory of his helplessness haunted him. He refused to ever feel that powerless again. With grim determination, he marked his choice, martial arts. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Xu Jingming was seen inside a dimly lit training room. His silhouette moved with precision as he practiced spear techniques, channeling his weak electric current into the weapon. Sweat dripped from his brow as he pushed himself to the limit. After hours of relentless training, he collapsed, gasping for breath. Though exhausted, he acknowledged that his spear mastery gave him a slight edge over other E-rank awakened. Still, he knew the statistics. Casualty rates for martial artists below D rank climbed higher every year. Clutching his fist, he vowed to give his all and secure a place in an awakened university. Just then, the glowing screen hovered before him, displaying a simple question. Did he wish to accept the beginner's package? Xu Jingming's breath caught in his throat. Could this finally be the legendary cheat ability he'd heard about in transmigration stories? His fingers trembled as he mentally queried the system about the package contents. The response made his pulse quicken. It contained an S-rank ability coupled with 200 system points. His mind reeled at the implications. S-rank powers were virtually mythical in this world. Those few who manifested such abilities instantly became national treasures, guaranteed elite training and unlimited cultivation resources. A cold sweat broke across his brow. Here he stood, a mere E-rank nobody that others mocked as trash, now holding the key to completely rewriting his destiny. Without hesitation, Xu Jingming's hand shot forward to accept the gift, his voice steady as he confirmed his choice. The system pinged in response, announcing the successful acquisition of both the points and the Thunder God ability. Then the transformation began. Raw, primordial energy flooded his meridians like liquid lightning. His back arched violently as unimaginable power coursed through every cell. A guttural scream tore from his throat as purple and white electricity erupted from his body in crackling waves. The energy coalesced into a crackling sphere of pure power that illuminated the entire training room. The force of his awakening proved catastrophic. Windows exploded outward in a shower of glass. Outside, bystanders stared in shock as chaos unfolded. A child pointed at the house, exclaiming that it belonged to Big Bro, while the crowd murmured in confusion over what could have happened. A concerned man hastily dialed the fire department, fearing that something terrible had befallen the Xu family's son. Inside, Xu Jingming's agonized screams continued as his transformation progressed, 70% complete. Suddenly, the sky darkened without warning, drawing panicked gasps from the streets. People glanced upward, bewildered, as an enormous dragon made of crackling lightning materialized above the city. Its menacing form loomed over the buildings, sending waves of terror through the crowd. In a nearby government office, a high-ranking official sensed the overwhelming pressure in the air. His expression hardened as he considered the possibility of a high-level beast invasion. Without hesitation, he issued an order. The 3rd Legion of Jianqing was to go on immediate high alert. The energy creature hovered ominously, its presence alone threatening the entire city. Meanwhile, inside the wrecked room, Xu Jingming let out one final, guttural scream as his transformation reached completion. The violent energy dissipated, leaving behind a scene of utter destruction, furniture shattered, walls scorched, and the air thick with residual power. Clenching his fist, he marveled at the overwhelming strength surging through his veins. This was no ordinary ability. It was an S-rank power, divine thunder, a force leagues beyond his previous strength. Glancing around at the devastation, he realized just how much commotion he had caused. Luckily, he had managed to control it before things got worse. Then, he remembered, 200 ability points had been granted to him. What were these for? Excited by this straightforward advantage, he commanded the system to open his panel. A translucent screen materialized before him, displaying his details. Name, Xu Jingming. Power, Divine Thunder, S-rank. Ability points, 200. Without hesitation, he allocated all 200 points into his combat attributes, knowing that tomorrow's exam demanded peak performance. He understood that true power came from both body and mind, so he distributed the points between physique and spirit. The numbers on his panel skyrocketed, and a violet aura enveloped him as raw energy coursed through his muscles and thoughts. His breathing steadied, his reflexes sharpened, and even his mental clarity heightened. He flexed his fingers, testing his newfound power. The difference was staggering. His movements were faster, his strikes more precise. A single punch sliced through the air with blistering speed. The system panel updated, showing the conversion of his points into enhanced attributes. With this boost, he had no doubt he would ace the university entrance exam. But one question lingered: where would he rank among the others? Eager to test his limits, he grabbed his spear, kicking it into the air with effortless precision. Gripping the weapon firmly, he made up his mind: he would head to a martial arts gym immediately. There, he could push his abilities further and truly gauge the extent of his power. Suddenly, the door to the room was kicked open by a powerful boot. 3 firefighters rushed inside, leaving Xu Jingming completely startled and confused. The team leader quickly explained that they had received an emergency call reporting a fire at the location. Xu Jingming calmly clarified that it had only been his powers fluctuating and that everything was under control now. After assessing the situation, the fire chief nodded in understanding and ordered his team to clean up. One of the firefighters was visibly impressed by the young man's strength, and Xu Jingming waved at them politely as they left. Outside, the fire truck drove away under the watchful eyes of curious neighbors. One of them called out, asking if everything was all right. Xu Jingming assured them it was just a minor incident before heading straight to the gym to continue his training. After all, for awakened individuals striving to become power users, relentless training wasn't just important, it was essential. He arrived at Thunder Hall, one of the most prestigious training facilities in the nation. Unlike other exclusive gyms that charged exorbitant fees, this one was completely free for high school students. As he stepped inside, his eyes landed on a group of girls chatting near the entrance. One of them looked familiar. It was Tang Qi, his cousin, who had also come to train. She was deep in conversation with a friend, both of them laughing excitedly. Noticing her, Xu Jingming walked over and greeted her, asking what she was doing there. Tang Qi seemed surprised by his sudden appearance but casually replied that she was just hanging out with friends. He nodded, bidding them farewell before mentioning that he was heading to the training room. As he walked away, Tang Qi watched him go, a strange feeling creeping over her. Something about him felt different. Her friend, Xiaoya, immediately perked up, asking who he was. Chi-Chi, who's that? Leaning in with sudden interest. He's kind of handsome. Tang Qi sighed. He's a 3rd year like us, taking the martial exam tomorrow. Nearby, another male student scoffed. Why so curious? Got a little crush, Xiaoya? Yup, Xiaoya admitted without hesitation. With a face like that, as long as his strength isn't too shabby, wouldn't he be great to show off as a boyfriend? Tang Qi shot her friend a wry look. Hate to disappoint you, but he only awakened an E-rank ability. Just E-rank? The male student smirked. That's a shame. Taking the martial exam with only an E-rank ability, gotta admire his. Courage is one thing, Tang Chi interrupted sharply, but the risk is way too high. I'd rather he didn't take the exam. Xia gently pulled her shoulder. Alright, let's drop it. Weren't we here to check out Thunderbolt Martial Hall? As the group walked away, one of them remarked that relaxing a bit before the exam wasn't a bad idea. In the training room, Xu Jingming gripped his spear, noticing how it felt lighter than before. He quickly realized it was not the weapon that had changed. His own body had grown stronger. With the exam just a day away, there was no time to find a better suited weapon. Deciding to test his limits, he resolved to strike using only his physical strength, deliberately avoiding his superpower. Taking a deep breath, he steadied himself, muscles coiling like springs. His fingers tightened around the shaft, knuckles widening from the force. Then, in one explosive motion, he thrust the spear forward, driving its tip straight into the target. A sharp crack echoed as the impact left a deep gash in the training dummy. The scoreboard flickered before displaying 321 calories. Almost instantly, the room's automated systems whirred to life, repairing the damage. Xu Jingming exhaled, impressed. His raw strength had nearly doubled, far surpassing that of an ordinary awakened. A surge of excitement coursed through him. Now, it was time to test his purple sky divine thunder. His eyes flashed with energy as violet electricity crackled around his hands, then spread across his body like living tendrils. With a shout, he struck again. This time, the impact was catastrophic. A deafening boom shook the room as the scoreboard lit up with 3,021 calories. Xu Jingming grinned. S-rank power, already comparable to a mid-level superuser. Yet he knew this was not his limit. He decided to merge his superhuman strength, combat skills, and lightning energy into a single, devastating technique. He spun the spear, faster and faster, until a swirling vortex of white and purple energy engulfed him. At the spear's tip, a sphere of condensed power formed, pulsating with raw destruction. With a roar, he released it all. The resulting explosion obliterated everything in its path. Meanwhile, in the main hall, a sudden tremor rocked the building. A student stumbled, grabbing a railing for balance. He muttered something about an earthquake. On the same floor, Xu Jingming's cousin and her group were knocked off their feet by the violent shaking. One of them, a sensor-type awakened, paled. That energy fluctuation came from a superuser, he said. Tanky's friend gaped. But only students train here, the elites use the higher halls. Curious and slightly alarmed, the cousin led the group toward the source of the disturbance. As they turned the corner, they spotted Xu Jingming casually walking out of a training room, his expression unreadable. What were you doing in there? His cousin demanded. Just finishing up, he said. Heading home to rest for tomorrow. One of her friends wished him luck, but as soon as he left, they rushed to inspect the room he had exited. The door was shattered, barely hanging on its hinges. When they stepped inside, their jaws dropped. Then, the cousin whispered, "What the hell happened here?" The training room was completely annihilated with broken walls and equipment. Xiaoya exclaimed in shock, questioning what high schooler could do this. A nearby young man sensed the violent residual energy, suggesting a level 2 or peak level 1 user. Another insisted no student could be responsible. It must have been a rogue ability user breaking rules. Xia suddenly wondered if Jingming had done it, a hidden genius revealing himself tomorrow. The others dismissed this, mocking her for reading too many underdog stories. An E-rank like him would be lucky to reach power level 300, they argued. Tang Chi studied the spear-like hole in the wall. She quietly considered if Jingming really had caused this, and if that explained his exam confidence. The city had 3 high schools with about 3,000 12th grade students. Excluding liberal arts examinees, roughly 1,400 were registered for the martial arts exam. Over 40 buses transported them to the testing site, a fence ruin that transformed annually for the exam. Dangerous beasts lurked in the rubble, their growls echoing. Students paled when spotting a one-horned rhino. A young man in a light blue combat uniform, carrying a long sword, scoffed at their fear. He remarked that if they couldn't handle such a beast, they'd achieve nothing even if admitted to a special abilities university. When students turned to argue, they hesitated upon recognizing him. Chu Mingyang, the top student from First High School, known for his B-rank wind ability and near level 1 strength. Curious, Jingming asked a tall student beside him, Lu Jia, about the arrogant youth. Lu Jia explained Xu Mingyang's reputation as this year's predicted top scorer. Jingming wondered how he compared in strength. Before the tension could escalate, a middle-aged military officer, Wang Haiyang, called for order. As the chief commander of the exam, he announced the rules. The test would last 12 hours, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., across 3 zones: the outer zone, unranked beasts; the central zone, peak unranked and level 1 beasts; and the core zone, level 1 and above, including level 2. Points were awarded based on the beasts defeated, but he warned students to stay within their limits to avoid unnecessary danger. Jingming smiled faintly. Before, he would only have dared hunt in the outer zones. Now, he was ready to challenge Core Zone 1. The exam proctor distributed supplies to each examinee: a smartwatch to track points and map the ruins, 3 energy bars for stamina, and a safety sphere that created an electric barrier, though activating it meant failing the exam. When Jingming received his gear, his teacher warned him sternly. "Your life matters most. Don't be reckless." Jingming thanked him sincerely. Just then, Jingming's cousin's friend came running toward him, shouting his name. She invited Jingming to join her team with the class president, promising that they would protect him. However, a classmate complained, arguing that teams could only have 5 members and that adding Jingming would drag down their score. The class president's friend grew annoyed, reminding them that they already had a deal and couldn't back out now. Undeterred, the other student pointed at Jingming and declared that he wasn't willing to carry dead weight during the exam. Seeing his best friend getting worked up, Jingming stopped him and thanked them for the kind invitation. With a smile, he declined the offer, stating that he planned to enter the exam arena alone this time. The girl and her friend were visibly surprised, but she accepted his decision and simply urged him to be careful inside. The group then walked away to find a new member for their team, leaving him behind. Jingming smirked slightly, looking entirely self-assured. He thought to himself that even without their help, he would find a way to earn a great score on the exam. Suddenly, a voice announced the start of the test as drones activated to broadcast the event live. With that, all the students rushed into the ruined city, determined to pass. Jingming's cousin and her group also pushed forward into the arena. Meanwhile, another girl with purple hair dashed through the crowd at incredible speed. Nearby, the genius Zhou Mingyang leaped into the air with his sword, ready to demonstrate his power for all to see. Meanwhile, Jingming also took a firm step, preparing to leap into action. Gripping his spear, he sprinted forward, declaring aloud that he was ready for the martial arts exam. He tapped his wristwatch to activate the exam system. A screen materialized, confirming his details and displaying the rankings, with his rival already holding first place. A faint smile crossed his face as he noted how quickly the genius had begun scoring points. Deciding he couldn't afford to lag behind, he resolved to move immediately. Instead of lingering in the outer area, he headed straight for the central zone of the ruined city. Soon, he found himself navigating the skeletal remains of collapsed buildings, the designated arena for the test. Spear at the ready, he advanced cautiously, scanning for threats. Suddenly, Jingming stumbled upon a student sprawled on the ground, severely injured. His eyes widened in shock. The classmate hadn't even activated his safety ball to escape. Studying the boy's condition, a grim thought struck him. Without his S-rank abilities, he could have easily suffered the same fate. A cold bead of sweat trailed down his temple as the true danger of the exam sank in. Without hesitation, he knelt and summoned the logistics team to evacuate the wounded student. Just then, Jingming's instincts flared. A presence was closing in, fast. From the gloom, a clawed paw slammed into the ground with crushing force. A shadow beast lunged from the darkness. Jingming realized he'd walked straight into a trap. The beast had lured him perfectly. The shadow beast locked eyes with him, its crimson gaze burning with predatory intent. Gripping his spear tighter, Jingming dropped into a combat stance as the monster's muscles coiled for an attack. With terrifying speed, the creature lunged. But Jingming twisted away with agile precision, narrowly avoiding the deadly swipe. He landed lightly on his feet as the beast crashed into the ground behind him, its claws gouging deep furrows in the concrete. This was no ordinary foe. The Grookey killer earned its name through razor-sharp claws and bone-crushing jaws. As it recovered with a ground-shaking roar, saliva dripping from its exposed fangs, Jingming understood why these beasts were feared. Their very presence emitted an aura so oppressive it paralyzed inexperienced fighters. Wealthy families paid fortunes to have guards train their children against such monsters from childhood. Jingming's jaw tightened. he'd never had that privilege. This marked his first true battle against one. When the beast sprang again, death gleaming in its claws, Jingming stood firm. Purple lightning suddenly crackled along his spear, illuminating his determined face. With one fluid motion, he thrust forward. The electrified spear struck true. As the beast collapsed, twitching, Jingming noted with satisfaction that its fear aura hadn't affected him at all. His wrist display pinged, 3 points awarded, unranked Shadow Cat eliminated. These minor beasts offered scant rewards, but their weakness to his attacks presented an opportunity. No reason to linger in the outskirts. Jingming pressed deeper into the ruined city, carving through monsters with increasing efficiency. In one frenetic skirmish against multiple foes, a realization struck. While his point tally grew, what he truly lacked was sustained combat experience. His new divine power, though formidable, drained energy alarmingly fast. Unlike his former ability's endurance, this one wouldn't last even an hour at full tilt. Knowing the exam would last 12 hours, our boy decided to stick with just his spear for combat practice. But his training session got interrupted when a hulking rhinoceros with burning red eyes came crashing through the ruins. The beast went wild, flipping a wrecked car skyward with its massive horn. Instead of backing down, the young fighter planted his feet as the monster barreled toward him. At the last possible moment, he launched himself straight up, clearing the charging beast by inches. Still airborne, he angled his spear downward for a killing strike. The weapon connected with a thunderous crack against the rhino's skull, dropping the 2-ton creature instantly. Landing lightly, our hero noticed his movements felt sharper. A quick system check brought good news. Spear technique intermediate level reached. His eyes lit up. If intermediate skills packed this much punch, what could advanced techniques do? Suddenly, his mind flooded with complex spear forms and battle strategies. The wave of knowledge nearly overwhelmed him before settling into place. With a confident grin, he scanned the area, now itching to test these new skills against the top-tier beast. Nearby, the class president's team paused their advance. "Wait," she frowned. "I could have sworn I just saw Jingming pass by." One teammate snorted. "No way. He'd get slaughtered in this zone." Their leader stayed quiet, though worry flickered across her face. Before she could respond, another member shouted, pointing at the still-warm rhino carcass. The group crowded around the massive corpse, examining the clean spear wound through its skull. "This kill required at least C-rank strength," someone muttered in disbelief. Hands trembling, the class president pulled up the rankings. Her breath caught. There was no mistake. Their previously underestimated classmate had rocketed into the top 50. Chaos erupted. "How?" Voices overlapped as devices were checked and rechecked, none able to process this impossible leap in strength. Outside the arena, the public was following the exam closely, and all eyes were on Zhou Mingyang, who had taken first place. The city's director of education praised the young genius, remarking that Zhou was certain to secure a spot in the provincial top 100. He went on to congratulate the principals of the schools whose students held first and third place, commending their impressive performances. Then, turning to the principal of Jiang City High School No. 2, he told him to reflect and work harder. As the highest-ranked student from his school was only in 18th place, principal of No. 2, Duongdu felt his face flush with embarrassment, and assured everyone that he would do better next time. In previous years, his school had always outperformed No. 3 high school, but this year the situation appeared to have reversed. Duongdu's eyes went to the screen. For a moment he froze. Wait a minute. Who is this Xu Jingming? Why have I never heard of this name before? Is there even such a person in the rocket class? He didn't recognize the student, but Jingming's homeroom teacher, Chen Fan, was completely taken aback when he saw the name Xu Jingming appear on the rankings. Xu Jingming had actually made it into the top 50. Chen Fan wiped the sweat from his cheeks, disbelief swirling in his thoughts. But isn't this kid an E-rank awakener? Could he have been hiding his strength? Then another thought struck him. Even if he had been hiding it, can an E-rank ability suddenly leap to S-rank? His gaze shifted back to the large display. Only the top 10 had their own dedicated camera feeds, which meant there was no way to find any live footage of Xu Jingming at the moment. How on earth did he manage to score so high? Meanwhile, our boy had reached the exam's most dangerous sector. Crunching glass underfoot, he took a bite of his snack bar while observing the environment. Ranked beasts are different, they are more smarter and territorial. His chewing stopped mid-bite. Every muscle tensed, something was coming fast. The warning came just in time. A monstrous blue-eyed tiger erupted through a line of abandoned cars, its thunderous charge reducing metal to scrap. A furk beast, nature's perfect wrecking ball. Instead of fear, a fierce grin spread across the young fighter's face. Talk about perfect timing, he thought, gripping his spear. Just the opponent I needed to test these new techniques. Without hesitation, he launched himself toward the rampaging beast, electrified spear crackling with pent-up energy.
The arm-blade tiger lunged, metallic forelimbs gleaming. Xu Jingming, spear in hand, stayed low waiting. The moment the beast was mid-air, he struck. Their clash lasted all of a second. A sharp clang rang out, and the tiger's paw shuddered from the impact. Xu Jingming just grinned. This is all the strength the rank 1 arm-blade tiger's got. He scoffed, adjusting his grip. Guess I'll have to wait for the Tiger King if I want a real workout. Before the beast could recover, he was already moving. Let me speed up your trip to the afterlife. His spear shot forward like a bolt, piercing clean through the tiger's chest. But the damn thing still wasn't done. With a furious roar, it twisted, claws raking the air as it pounced, forcing Xu Jingming into a hasty dodge. He rolled sideways, barely avoiding the swipe. Heh. Gotta respect the hustle, he muttered, watching the beast stagger back up, blood dripping from its wounds. But this fight's over. Purple lightning crackled around his spear, gathering into a lethal surge. One thrust, and the energy erupted, punching straight through the tiger's body. The creature collapsed, finally still, the ground now painted in a very unfortunate shade of crimson. A glowing blue box materialized above the corpse. Killed, 1 rank 1 arm-blade tiger. Ability points plus 14. The ability points gained from killing a rank 1 fierce beast are almost double that of an unranked one. Xu Jingming barely glanced at it. He was already turning away. Stronger beast, bigger rewards, he mused, a smirk playing on his lips. And this exam site? Packed with monsters everyone else is terrified of? Perfect. It's basically my own personal grinding paradise. The monitoring room hummed with quiet tension as holographic rankings flickered across dim screens. All eyes tracked one name climbing steadily, Xu Jingming of Zhongqing Second High, now sitting pretty at 25th place with 345 points. Other instructors congratulated instructor Qin Fan, though some couldn't resist teasing, well, seems your class 5 actually produced a decent fighter for once. One instructor pointed at the screen and exclaimed, "Look everyone. Xu Jingming's ranking has gone up again. He actually gained 44 points in one go." Director Zhang chuckled while examining the rankings. Killing a peak unranked beast, 6 to 8 points. Killing a first-tier low-grade beast, 14 to 16 points. Principal Zhao of Second High frowned, counting on his fingers. The math wasn't adding up, or rather, it was adding up too well. Director Zhang leaned in, eyes sharp. And the system updates kill counts every 4 seconds. Which means, in the time it takes most students to blink, Xu Jingming just slaughtered either 5 peak unranked beasts or 3 first-tier ones. Principal Zhao whipped toward Qin Fan. Honestly, I'm just as surprised as you are. Director Zhang thought, a performance like this hasn't been seen in years. Principal Zhao, why haven't we heard about this student before? Principal Zhao gestured at him. For details, you'll have to ask his homeroom instructor. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he stepped forward, bowing slightly. Director Zhang asked, "Well, Instructor Chen? Enlighten us. What's this boy's talent?" Qin Fan swallowed hard. Director, Principal. Xu Jingming awakened an E-grade ability. Weak electricity. The monitoring room fell into stunned silence. Director Zhang's expression remained unreadable as he processed Qin Fan's revelation. An E-grade ability? You're certain about this? Qin Fan could only offer a weak nod, his posture shrinking slightly. I even advised him against taking the exam. Never imagined he'd perform like this. Director Zhang, enjoying the tea, said, "Interesting. Very interesting." He turned back to the display. With his current momentum, breaking into the top 10 seems inevitable. A heavy pause followed before he added quietly, "The question is, how exactly is he doing it?" At the unspoken suggestion of cheating, both Principal Zhao and Instructor Chun went pale. Then, the rankings updated with an almost theatrical flourish. Elsewhere in the examination grounds. 9th place, Xu Jingming. A wolf-eared girl, she watched the scoreboard update. A knowing smirk played across her lips. "Just as I thought," she murmured to herself. "You were the one behind that shockwave yesterday. Cousin Jingming."
He took the creature down with practiced ease and commented to himself that hunting in the central zone was simply more efficient. It's all about optimizing that grind. Noticing a drone buzzing closer, he cracked a smile. He'd finally broken into the exam's top 10. I never wanted to hide my strength, he stated. This is just the beginning. Meanwhile, the student holding on to first place scanned the top 10 and did a double take. Xu Jingming? The name meant nothing to him. Who was this random guy crashing the VIP section? On a security feed, the answer was clear. The camera showed Xu Jingming, a lone figure sprinting through the city's devastated streets. The footage then cut to him in the heat of battle, spear poised to strike yet another beast. But before heading to the main event, he decided he needed one more power-up. He was confused that he hadn't leveled up yet and realized the cultivation method was the missing piece. For now, he'd just keep dumping points into his basic stats. Because sometimes, the answer is just more muscle. Feeling stronger and more powerful than ever, he finally set his sights on the exam's core area. The central area was everything they said it would be, supremely dangerous. The scene that greeted him was a pack of blade tigers, viciously devouring another creature. One stood out among them, larger, with razor-sharp protrusions and an aura that screamed boss fight. Xu Jingming identified them immediately, a smile spreading across his face. This was a golden opportunity for a massive point haul. But suddenly, his eyes narrowed, his expression turning serious. He'd sensed another presence. Come out, he demanded. To his surprise, his rival, Zhou Minjiang, stepped onto the scene. The so-called genius, Zhou Minjiang, offered a nod of respect. Your perception is impressive, he admitted, his tone laced with genuine surprise. And to be honest, I was shocked to see the name Xu Jingming break into the top 10. Xu Jingming didn't skip a beat. How do you know my name? He asked, his guard still up. I'm familiar with everyone capable of entering this core area, Zhou explained, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Except for you. So when I suddenly saw a new face, I guessed it must be the rising dark horse everyone's whispering about. The gossip network in this place is faster than the internet. He gestured toward the pack of monsters. I've had my eye on this group of arm-blade tigers for a while now. Xu Jingming's eyes narrowed. I see. A beat of silence hung in the air before he made his accusation. You want to steal my prey? Don't misunderstand, Zhou said, raising his hands in a placating gesture. Trying to look innocent next to a pack of monsters is a choice. The Armblade Tiger King is a first-order mid-tier fierce beast. Plus, it has 9 other tigers hunting as a team. No matter how strong one person is, they can't handle it alone. His proposal was clearly an alliance. Xu Jingming's reply was instant and absolute. No need. A confident, almost arrogant smile touched his lips. I'm enough on my own. Famous last words, or the declaration of a legend? The tigers probably aren't taking bets. A full horde of monstrous arm-blade tigers was arranged not in a mindless pack but in a crude, tactical formation. This discipline was commanded by a larger, more formidable beast commander who stood at the front. The beast commander unleashed a powerful, ground-shaking roar to signal the attack and intimidate its foe. Standing unwavering against the advancing monstrous pack was the young examinee, Xu Jingming. His grip on his spear was firm. He analyzed the situation with a calm, tactical mind. He thought to himself, as expected of a beast horde led by a beast commander, they can even use simple formations with intelligence. Starting off with intimidation? That might scare others, but it won't scare me. From a hidden vantage point behind a large rock, another examinee watched the scene unfold with a mixture of skepticism and morbid curiosity. He muttered to himself, let's see if this guy is walking to his death, or if he really has extraordinary skills. The response was immediate and violent. Xu Jingming moved like a lightning bolt, his spear becoming a blur of precise, devastating strikes. He engaged the organized horde, dismantling their formation with overwhelming force and speed. As each beast fell, a new, smaller system window promptly popped up with a soft chime, logging the kill and awarding the points in a crisp, automated voice that only he could hear. System notification. Killed 1 Tier 1 lower arm-blade tiger, ability points plus 10. System notification. Killed 1 Tier 1 middle arm-blade tiger, ability points plus 15. Xu Jingming's expression showed a hint of disappointment in his own physical limits. He lamented internally, too bad, my physical strength is still lacking. I couldn't kill them all. The beast commander charged, its powerful muscles propelling it forward with terrifying speed. It lunged, jaws wide open, aiming to crush Xu Jingming with its deadly fangs. In that split second, Xu Jingming didn't retreat. He dropped his center of gravity, letting the beast's momentum carry its head over him. As the deadly jaws snapped shut on empty air, he thrust his spear downward with explosive force, driving the point deep into the beast's exposed skull. The creature's roar was cut short. It shuddered once and then collapsed. System notification. Killed 1-1 upper arm blade tiger, ability points plus 20. From his hiding spot, Zhou Mingyang was utterly stunned. He had witnessed the entire fight, culminating in the single, lethal strike that felled the commander. He whispered in complete disbelief. "No way, he actually wiped them all out in one go. What kind of monster is he?" The sight of the rewards triggered a wave of urgency. "That's a huge harvest of ability points." His curiosity then overpowered his shock. He emerged from his hiding place and ran towards Xu Jingming, his tone shifting from skepticism to awestruck inquiry. "How did you manage to crush a whole group of arm-blade tigers with just a spear? Are you an enhancement-type ability user?" Xu Jingming, not even stopping to look back at his fellow examinee, already seeking his next challenge. He replied bluntly over his shoulder. "No, I'm lightning type." Zhou Mingyang skidded to a halt, baffled and insulted by the answer. He clenched his fists in frustration. "A lightning type?" he yelled after the retreating figure. "Even if you don't want to tell me your ability, you don't need to brush me off like that. What a nasty personality." A sudden, worrying thought struck him. Xu Jingming had just killed an entire horde, including the commander. His score must have skyrocketed. He quickly accessed the live exam rankings on his wrist-mounted device. The results flashed before his eyes. System notification, rankings. First place, Xu Jingming, 1122 points, Jiangqing, number 2 high school. Second place, Zhou Mingyang, 985 points, Jiangqing, number 1 high school. He stared at the screen, his previous confidence shattered. He yelled out to the empty forest. "What? He's already overtaken me!" The scene shifted to a sleek, official monitoring room. City officials and school directors watched the constantly updating rankings on a large central screen. Director Zhang, who had been watching Xu Jingming's battle intently. His tone was no longer merely pleased, it was filled with profound respect and analysis. He spoke aloud, to no one in particular. "Such a domineering advanced spear technique. Xu Jingming is only 18, and he's already trained his spear arts to an advanced level. This proves it, he's a true genius." He then turned to the beaming principal of number 2 high school, his smile returning. "With Xu Jingming around, Jiangqing will definitely break into the province's top 100. After the exams, I'll propose to the city to award your number 2 high school." The principal, unable to contain his pride, replied, "Thank you, Director Zhang. Xu Jingming really is a huge surprise." 3 hours later, the rival, a talented but perpetually baffled young man, wandered through the central zone. It was suspiciously, unnervingly quiet. Where was the apocalyptic swarm of monsters? Did they all call in sick? He ran into a group of top-ranked examinees, including Wu Hao, 3rd place, Tang Qi, 9th place, and Meng Di, 4th place, gathered in the prestigious and dangerous core zone. They told Lu to go ask the guy in 1st place. A girl filled him in. "Xu Jingming took out all the beasts. We had to form teams just to find scraps." The rival found this utterly impossible. The core zone was supposed to be a monster mosh pit. This was like walking into a library during finals week and finding it empty. She just shrugged and told him to check the ranking board if he wanted to understand the sheer scale of the situation. His jaw hit the floor. Xu Jingming's score was a cool 3,400 points and climbing. The girl did the quick math. That meant he had single-handedly turned almost 200 beasts into point fodder. The math was mathing, and it was mathing violently in Xu Jingming's favor. It finally dawned on the genius. This wasn't luck. Xu Jingming's plan from the start had been to clear the entire area. A one-man ecological disaster. Another student mentioned they were now all heading for the deepest zone. The rival paled, suddenly spooked by the implied danger. Seizing the opportunity, the purple-haired girl invited him to join their team. He accepted immediately. Safety in numbers, especially when the solo alternative is a monster-slaying maniac. As night fell, the scene shifted to the cause of all the chaos. Xu Jingming, perched atop a mountain of defeated monsters like a king on a very gross, very smelly throne. His supplies were gone, the exam was almost over, and he was down to his last ration bar. A true hero's feast. He calculated that to get more points, he needed to go deeper. But to go deeper, he needed to get stronger. Simple logic. The video game logic of, I'm stuck, better grind until the numbers go up. He pulled up his status panel. The number was glorious, over 2,400 skill points. A slow smile spread across his face as he decided exactly how to spend his absurd points. Power coursed through him, newly enhanced and ready for the exam's final challenge. Meanwhile, the rivals' new team began their final push toward the arena's center. The tension was high, the camaraderie fresh. Nothing bonds people like shared terror. That's when something massive blocked their path. A giant beast, a nightmarish fusion of a polar bear and a geode, materialized before them. And Xu Jingming, sensing the shift, simply got ready. He wondered what level 2 beast the organizers had prepared for the finale. He was about to be delightfully surprised. Not long after, the rival group finally stumbled into the vicinity of the central core area. They scrambled on top of a half-crumbled building to get a better look, and what they saw made their blood run cold. Standing on the rooftop, they peered down into the street below. A massive, hulking white bear was prowling the area, its sheer size making their previous monster encounters look like puppy playdates. They had stumbled upon a blood berserk bear the second they entered the core. Among monsters, the blood berserk bear was legendary, not the good kind of legendary. It was ridiculously rare and notoriously OP. Zhou Ming's face went pale. Forget its raw strength for a second, the thing was basically wearing a suit of armor. Its fur was thicker and tougher than military-grade alloy. You could probably bounce a missile off this thing and it'd just get annoyed. There was no withstanding it. It was game over. Beside him, Yang Qi looked ready to nope right out of the plan. We should bail. Seriously, abort mission, she whispered. The open ground below wasn't just home to the bear. It was packed with dozens of other higher level 1 monsters. It's a monster block party, and we are not invited. Yang Qi reasoned. Its little fan club down there would tear us to shreds. I'm out. Dying here for a handful of points is a garbage trade. Zhou Ming's face was a mask of frustration. What kind of sadist designed this exam? He cursed internally. But just then, a girl named Ming Di suddenly pointed downward, her voice a sharp whisper. Wait! Everyone, look! There's someone down there! Then she said the name that was on everyone's mind lately. Xu Jingming. The whole group froze, their collective disbelief hanging in the air. No way. He's here? Now? In the distance below, a dark figure was moving at an insane speed, charging straight toward the residential district entrance like a bat out of hell. In seconds he was there. All eyes were locked on him. Mengdi's cheeks flushed slightly. Whoa, he's actually kinda handsome charging in like that. Zhou Ming just snorted, his jealousy and fear mixing into a nasty cocktail. What good is handsome? Charging into that horde is just fancy suicide. Sure enough, Xu Jingming's grand entrance instantly threw the monster party into chaos. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen higher monsters broke from the pack and charged him. It's over, Mengdi cried out. He's pissed off the whole horde. For a second, it looked like the MC had it handled. He was moving like a blender, cutting down the first few monsters that reached him with terrifying ease. Is he for real? But then the second wave hit. And the third. Soon, his figure was completely swallowed by the seething, roaring mass of monsters. Did he just get himself killed? Why would he be so reckless? Zhou Ming frowned. At this distance, even if they wanted to play hero, it was too late. But Yang Qi wasn't having it. I have to go down. I have to see, she insisted, moving toward the edge. The others immediately grabbed her. Are you insane? That's a death wish. You'll just end up exactly like him. He's my cousin, she shot back, desperation in her eyes. I can't just. Suddenly a violent shockwave of violet energy erupted from the center of the monster horde. The deafening crackle of thunder was followed by a sight that would be burned into their memories forever. Every single monster touched by the violet light seized up, their bodies convulsing as if they'd grabbed a live power line, and in the center of it all stood Xu Jingming. The MC thinks okay, maybe my raw strength isn't quite enough to style on these higher level guys yet. Gotta use the cheat code. He raised his hand, watching the fascinating violet sparks dance at his fingertips. An S-rank ability, damn. This is just broken. The power was tied to his base stats, and his stats were no joke. The result was gloriously, stupidly overwhelming. His gaze shifted forward. The dozen or so monsters he'd left twitching on the ground had finally done their job. They'd gotten the big guy's attention. The white bear. It loomed. 5 meters tall. 3 meters across. It was less a bear and more a walking, furry apartment building. Well, crap. It's tank mode. This was the finale the examiners had prepared, the rare monster, the white bear. This year's examiners are definitely not playing around, but Xu Jingming felt confident he could take on the white bear, but its aggressive presence had an unexpected effect. The other monsters, momentarily cowed by his earlier lightning display, suddenly went berserk under its influence. He realized that engaging the bear directly would leave him open to attacks from the smaller monsters, creating a troublesome situation. He decided to clear out the lesser threats first. His normally clear eyes now glowed with violet lightning energy, and a terrifying power coursed through his limbs and across his sharply defined features. A savage grin spread across his face as he shot forward toward the smaller monsters. The spear in his hand moved like lightning itself, tracing a violet-black arc through the air that pierced straight through the tiger's heart before it could react. He moved systematically through the monsters, each thrust and slash claiming another higher level 1 creature. This state was one of the fundamental applications of lightning energy, lightning infusion. By channeling lightning directly into his body, he stimulated every cell to achieve a dramatic surge in physical capabilities. He could feel the thunderous current raging through him like a powerful river, amplifying his strength to unbelievable levels. Of course, allowing lightning to rampage through one's body was extremely dangerous. A single misstep could shatter his meridians, which was why this state couldn't be maintained for long. But for wiping out these monsters, it was more than enough. When he appeared beside a higher level 1 rhinoceros, his spear flashed again. A thin line of blood appeared across the beast's neck, moments before its massive head slid smoothly to the ground. Xu Jingming's score points surged upward at an astonishing rate as system notifications chimed continuously in his mind. The white bear finally lost control upon seeing the rhino slain before its eyes. It let out a roar and charged straight at Xu Jingming. Despite its massive frame, the bear moved with surprising speed, covering more than 30 meters in the blink of an eye before smashing its colossal fists down where Xu Jingming had been standing. But if the white bear was fast, Xu Jingming was faster. Empowered by the violet heaven divine lightning, he vanished from the spot in a flash. The bear spotted him nearby and charged again, its bloodshot eyes blazing with fury. Xu Jingming had no intention of engaging the bear directly while the level 1 monsters remained. Evading another swipe, he leapt into the air. Each strike of his lightning-wreathed black spear claimed another life. Ability point notifications chimed endlessly in his mind as he eliminated higher monsters. Plus 15 for the rhino, plus 13 for the shadow cat, plus 14 for the tiger. Meanwhile, the white bear's furious yet powerless roars echoed through the central core. Xu Jingming didn't stop, taunting the bear as he thinned the horde. He asked if it was angry because he was slaughtering its underlings. Boosted by the violet heaven divine lightning, he moved as carefree as someone walking a dog in the park. When only one rhinoceros remained before him, he chuckled about playing with the bear after dealing with the last beast. The colossal monster seemed to realize its speed was insufficient, and that continuing to chase would only result in further mockery. Standing in the center of the plaza, its mountain-like figure locked onto Xu Jingming with blood-red eyes. Almost simultaneously, as Xu Jingming appeared before the final rhino, the white bear materialized right behind it. With a thunderous roar, its enormous paws clapped together from both sides, smashing the spot where Xu Jingming stood. The impact was devastating, completely obliterating the rhino's body between the bear's crushing blows and kicking up a storm of dust that blanketed the area. But the strike hadn't hit Xu Jingming. Instead, he now hovered in midair behind the beast, his entire body cloaked in arcs of violet lightning. With a confident smile, he declared that they would see if the bear's fur could withstand the power of his lightning. Jing's left hand tightening in the air as if gathering an invisible force. Violet lightning crackled around him, snapping and sparking with wild energy, building faster than anyone could anticipate. Without fanfare, all that power condensed into a single, massive bolt of purple electricity. It shot toward the bear with devastating speed, carrying enough force to feel reality bending. An explosion erupted on impact. The shockwave rolled outward like a freight train, toppling rubble and making it difficult for students watching from a distance to keep their footing. Drones captured every moment, beaming the chaos directly to the monitoring room where officials looked on. Superintendent Xiao Yao drew a sharp breath, his face frozen in disbelief. Beside him, Education Bureau Chief Zhang Wen stared wide-eyed. "Wait," he said, his voice edged with skepticism. "You are telling me this is just a low-rank ability?" Another observer quickly interjected, explaining that based on the sheer destructive force, this single strike could eliminate a squad of high-level monsters, perhaps even challenge a tier boss. Most A-rank ability users would struggle to achieve such an effect. Zhang Wen's face broke into a broad grin, excitement evident. Whatever this young man's official rank might be, the raw destructive power on display was enough to shake the nation. But back in the ruined town center, the violet lightning had not felled the bear. It barely left a visible mark, only fueling the beast's rage. Jing realized immediately he had underestimated his opponent. This was no ordinary creature. Its fur was caked into a natural armor, tougher than most alloys, and worse, it did not conduct electricity. Jing stepped back, eyes narrowing. There was no way he could finish it in one strike. He would have to break through its defenses first. The bear, however, had no intention of waiting. With a ground-shaking roar, it unleashed a surge of blood energy that erupted into dark flames, wrapping its massive form like a primal force of destruction. Then, in an instant, the bear launched itself forward like a tank with no brakes. Jing's mind raced. This was what it felt like to face a charging tiger tank. He paled slightly and dove sideways just as the beast slammed into where he had stood. The concrete yard shattered into fragments, the bear standing at the epicenter like an unstoppable force. Jing clicked his tongue in irritation. Of course it entered berserk mode this early. This creature was truly fixated on him. As the dust settled, the bear stood enveloped in scarlet energy, its eyes burning with mindless fury. It launched into a relentless assault. High-level beasts often possessed combat instincts that mirrored human techniques, and berserk was among the most dangerous. Research indicated that once a beast entered this state, all intelligence faded, leaving only pure, destructive instinct. Normally, a beast would only resort to berserk when cornered. This one, however, seemed to embrace it freely. Yet Jing felt no fear, only exhilaration. Each dodge energized him further. This was exactly the kind of battle that would significantly boost his power once concluded. His strategy was straightforward: avoid direct confrontation. His body already exceeded 180 points in raw strength, and with self-stimulation activated, he was a force to be reckoned with. But speed and precision were his true advantages. Lightning flickered, and then Jing vanished. The bear had barely raised its guard when danger struck. A searing pain tore through its thigh as flesh ripped open, purple lightning crackling within the wound. The monster roared, shaking the ground as it slammed its massive paw toward the human dancing at its feet. But Jing was already gone. In the midst of this destruction, Jing unleashed his violet heaven divine lightning at maximum output. Arcs of purple thunder poured from him like a storm-given form, hammering into the bear again and again. Already slow, the bear was now crippled. Instinct told it lightning alone would not kill it, so it lowered its bulk and tried to endure the punishment. For 30 relentless seconds, the sky seemed to split with thunder. When the bear finally stopped moving, Jing assumed it was over. 2 minutes of constant lightning had to be enough. He teleported forward in a flicker of violet sparks, stopping 3 meters from its face, spear ready to deliver the final blow. But the monster was not yet dead. With a sudden lurch, it swung forward, attempting to crush him at point-blank range. 3 meters was nothing. It could close that distance in an instant. Yet its legs gave out, completely numb, devoid of strength. The beast's eyes widened in shock. Jing smirked, shaking his head. "Did you really think enduring my lightning for 2 minutes would leave you unharmed?" He braced his spear, purple lightning surging around his body like a living storm. At the weapon's tip, a dense thunderball formed, buzzing with raw power. Jing launched it like a cannon shot. The impact ripped the monster off its feet, hurling it hundreds of meters before it smashed through a high-rise, collapsing the structure entirely. When the dust settled, the bear lay broken. Its chest was a charred crater, its heart obliterated, leaving only a void of smoking flesh where faint arcs of purple lightning still snapped. A cold, mechanical voice echoed in Jing's mind, "You have slain a Tier 2 beast. Plus 24 ability points." Breathing heavily, Jing steadied himself, sweat dripping down his face. Finally over, he muttered. The fight had lasted less than 2 minutes, yet every second had been brutal. The constant pressure, the sheer scale of it all, had drained him completely. Had it gone on any longer, he might not have held up. Still, the thrill was undeniable. This had been his greatest fight yet. He opened his system panel, curious to see his score after clearing the central zone. Meanwhile, in the monitoring room, teachers and exam officials erupted into cheers. The final tally lit up the screen. Jing had taken first place with a staggering 10,835 points. He had not only broken the city record, he had shattered the province's all-time high. Last year's champion had barely reached 8,000. Jingming was now the undisputed king. But Jing was not satisfied. The exam was not yet over, and he still had energy to spare. Slinging his battered black spear across his back, he turned from the bear's corpse and headed deeper into the central zone. On a nearby rooftop, Zhou Ming and his team stared in stunned silence. The bear is dead, and he is still going? He is returning to the central area? He already has 10,000 points. What more could he want? Zhou slapped his thigh in frustration. It is over. With his speed, if we do not move now, we will not get a single point before the exam ends. The group scrambled into action. Zhou even abandoned his teammates, igniting his wind ability to surge ahead. Everyone raced like desperate scavengers, hoping to claim a few remaining monsters before Jing swept them all. Then, the announcement echoed 3 times. The Martial Academy exam of 2037 was officially concluded. Jing sighed as he pulled his spear free from his final victim. What a pity. He hefted the weapon onto his shoulder, and strolled out as if nothing had happened. Outside, the plaza buzzed with returning students. Then, a sudden silence fell. Someone shouted, "Jing is out!" Every head turned toward the gates. He emerged through the fading light, tall, calm, his uniform stained with blood, the spear strapped to his back. Applause erupted. Even rivals like Zhou Ming could only swallow their pride and admit defeat. The principal was waiting with Director Zhang Wenxin, who insisted on driving Jing home personally rather than letting him take the bus. Jing agreed, preferring to avoid being mobbed. In the car, Wenxin leaned over with a grin. So, which ability university are you considering? Jing shook his head. Honestly, he had not thought that far ahead. Since awakening in this world, all he had cared about was gaining power and eliminating monsters. Schools had never crossed his mind. But the director was more excited than he was. With your results, any academy in the country would fight to recruit you. Even the big 3, Qingjing in the capital, Madu on the coast, Jinchong with its 2 centuries of history. The so-called Supremes. You know of them, right? Jing nodded slowly. He had heard of them. But he cut in, frowning. Abilities require cultivation methods. How exactly do those work? Wenxin smiled as if he had been waiting for that question. Those top schools possess exclusive methods. Out here, it might take 3 or 4 years to become a proper ability user on your own. But at one of those academies? Half a year, at most. And after your score enters the national rankings, the top 10 schools will be begging to offer you resources. Jing nodded. That was good enough for him. By the time he arrived home, it was past 11. He barely had the energy to shower, letting hot water rinse away the blood and grime. His muscles relaxed, exhaustion washing over him, but he still pulled up his status panel. Name, Jingming. Ability, Violet Sky Divine Thunder. Physique, 183. Spirit, 185. Skills, Advanced Spearmanship, Advanced Lightning Breakthrough. Ability points, 2534. It was a staggering haul, enough to sustain him well into his first year at university. He was just beginning to wonder if there would be more beast hunting tournaments in his future when the front door creaked open. He had forgotten to lock it. His aunt Xu Qingyuan stepped inside, followed by his cousin Tang Qi, and of course, he was standing there wearing only a towel. Tang Qi's face flushed crimson. Jing hurried to get dressed. A few minutes later, the 3 sat awkwardly in the living room. His aunt, who had practically raised him after his parents died, looked him over with a mix of worry and relief. I came to ask about the exam. I have been worried sick. Jing blinked. Did Tang Qi not tell you? Tang Qi smirked. I thought you should be the one to share the news. Auntie, I did quite well. Scored over 10,000 points. Jing scratched his nose, slightly embarrassed. His aunt spat out her water in shock. Do not joke with me, boy. Mom, he is not kidding, Tang Chi cut in, grinning. Cousin scored 11,124 points to be exact. His aunt breaking into tears, hugging Jing tightly. Finally, she thought, their family had a true successor. Elsewhere, in the admissions office of Madu Ability University, the faculty stared at Jing's footage in disbelief. Some insisted it had to be falsified. No E rank from a small city could achieve such feats. Others argued his power appeared A rank, perhaps even S rank. The room devolved into shouting until one woman slammed the table. Enough. From this moment, Jingming is classified as S rank. I will go to Jiangchong myself.